Okay, so Sandeep, as I already announced, he's the co-founder and the managing director. He's got a very interesting talk, and so I don't want to kind of get in and take that off you, but let you kind of take it on from here. He's going to speak on strengthening the core of consumer analytics. He's got his team also who are out there, and he's going to be around for the next 2 days as well. So Sandeep, I'll hand it over to you to take us through your presentation. Thank you.
I think Uber Eats probably has got the innovation ideation audience already over here for free. I mean, the number of ideas that you have given to Uber Eats is wonderful at this time. Okay, so strengthen the core of your customer analytics. Where this topic came from is a few years ago, I went to the gym, decided finally to go to the gym. And I went to the personal trainer as well because I didn't know too much about what I should be doing. I didn't want to hurt myself. I went to the personal trainer and he said, what's your goal? I said, well, that's the point. I don't want this goal over here. So he went on and he said, okay, what would you like to look like? Give me some idea. So I showed him Salman Khan picture. You know, this is the muscle man of Bollywood. That's what I want to look at. He ignored my comment completely. And then I said, okay, you know, do you have other pictures? I said, no, well, whatever you can pull out of myself. He said, the first thing that you got to do is strengthen your core with me here. And it's going to take a while because you've got a weak one that I can already see. So he said, I've got 3 exercises that I'm going to tell you which are going to be critical and fundamental for you to strengthen your core. I said, all right. If you do them very religiously, you'll definitely have a much better core. And this is something that you need definitely to build anything else from that point on. So whatever happened, I mean, he has definitely given me, I've lost my belly here, so done some good to me. So what I'm going to do here with you is 3 things, basically, so that you can strengthen your core of the customer analytics. You might be doing a lot of those things. Basic idea is to really have some kind of a takeaway here. Is this something resonating with you, something that you could take away and implement as well? And if you're already doing some of those things, great, wonderful. Keep doing them. Don't stop. So customer behavior, that's first thing that I would talk about. Then we have got data and technology. Everybody's talking about that. We'll have some time on this as well. And then purple people, if you are already wondering what exactly that purple people means, we'll touch upon that as well. Fair? Okay. A couple of years ago, we were planning a trip to France. You know, wives always have that, you know, such a romantic place. We should always visit there once. I'm sure everybody has that on the bucket list somewhere or the other. So we were planning for that. You know, let's go to France. So what is the first place you would go to? Paris. And what the first destination in Paris? Eiffel Tower. What's the second one? Notre Dame, probably. One of them. Or Louvre Museum. Or you would go to Disney if you have got kids. You know, that's going to be on your priority. Or a couple of other places here and there. But typically what happens is you have got about a list of 4 things, 5 things, or maybe 10 things to do. Right? There's always a list. We did that once, loved it, and it was great experience. But when we came back, we started talking about it, we started looking at certain things, Googling as well. There were so many other things that we actually missed out within France. And there were so many different things to explore over there. Be it the scenic locations down in South France, be it their culture, what kind of things do they eat, what has been their history, what kind of languages, how the language has developed, and just so much more to explore over there. But what we typically get stuck with is that first 5 things, or top 10 things. And how we learned about all of those things was talking to the locals there. Talking to all the people, you know, second time when we went there, talking to a lot of people locally, what place we should go and visit. And that's how we explored France. and we loved it. And right now, if you come to my place, you're most welcome. The things that we will talk about is not Eiffel Tower. Yes, we do remember that, but we'll not talk about Eiffel Tower or the Louvre Museum or Notre Dame. We'll talk about the things that we explored on our second trip. This is exactly what happens in business. Exactly what happens. We all go and look at some of the insights, the dashboards, and the reports every day, every week, every month of our life. How many of us have got dashboards of some shape or the other? Almost. Yeah, we all have that in some shape or the other. And what happens is, there's nothing wrong with looking at the dashboards, by the way. So don't look down. You must have some of those top 5 things and top 10 things to look at. But what's important is, do we actually explore anything further than that? And the dashboard analogy, what I call sometimes, is bunch of reports. We wake up in the morning looking at all of those reports. There are some numbers in there, but can we make some sense out of that, or can we action them for the good of the business? That's the key aspect here. So the exploration part, if you like, is in questions. Unless you go and ask the questions to your customers about your customers, you will never know what exactly existed in south of France. And that's what is not happening really as much. The amount of customer data that you have and the information that you are collecting, if you put it across through the framework of the questions, there's so much of insights that you would get out of that. It's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And the kind of nuggets that you would pull out, some of the examples that Uber Eats had or Harish talked about, some of the things that you would pull out are from those insights. There may be 100 things that might be there, but for successful business model, for another blockbuster product, all you need is one, really one. And I agree with Harish when he said, are we capable of massaging all of that information? Are we capable of consuming all of that information and pulling it out? That's the skill that we need to have. We're not good with numbers. Yes, we are mathematicians. We are not good at looking at numbers. It has to make sense. It has to do something in terms of my outcomes. So exploring your customer data through the framework of questions is the key aspect. And if you do not have this kind of a customer question framework, I would suggest do it now. It's not late. Do it now. We do a lot of those sales KPIs, marketing KPIs, a lot of those dashboards and insights that we do, but they are all inward looking. I want to know how the profitability and the margins would work. What was my better product in that particular region? They're all inward looking metrics. They're not looking at it from the customer standpoint. And that's the customer framework. You start putting down those questions, you'll struggle in the beginning. Like you said, top 5 destinations, that's all you will get initially. But once you start going deeper into that, you will start getting those very insightful questions for your customers. And that's the key thing that we need to do in every business. The other part is, what type of questions do we ask? We do a lot of those demographics, where are my customers coming from? What is their age group? What is their gender? Where do they live? Very specific type of segmentation questions that we ask our data, which is great, fine. But what you need to understand is, what are those behavioral questions? And just like we were discussing about Uber Eats also, every business has that, by the way, it's not just Uber Eats. Every business has the ability to consume all of that information and then ask those behavioral questions about your customers. What do they really like? What are their preferences? And the key thing is, the preferences are evolving and changing every minute. It's changing faster than ever. And we as a human being, if I like, say, Punjabi cuisine, am I going to like Punjabi cuisine for the rest of my life? Am I not going to try a few other things? I will. And am I keeping pace with the changing behavior of my customers? Because if you don't keep asking those questions continuously, you will be drifting away from your customers. And that's the risk. Nobody wants to do that, right? So that's one of the key things. It's the consumer behavioral driven questions that you need to ask. And the bigger question then is, which I'm going to leave you with, is do you have the information and the data that you're collecting about their behavior? So if not, start doing it now, is the thing. Now, have you guys seen, how many of you have seen analytics projects or customer analytics projects failing, not delivering results? Is there anyone? Yeah, few hands. This is one thing I want to mention which will never fail, and I guarantee that. It will never ever fail. You always take away some insights from it. What fails is our ability to act upon those insights. That's exactly where we fail. It's not the analytics, it's not the insights. Insights are extremely powerful. And no matter where you put them into practice, you will get results from the customer analytics programs, always, every time. So that's what we have seen. And we have seen fundamental, unimaginable results at times. And like you said, it's one nugget that you need to really take that next step in your business. Okay? Some of the successful outcomes, what they might look like, right? There is, it will be different in terms of numbers for your business. It's always different. But these are some of the successful outcomes if you're driving your business strategy with customer insights and driven by analytics. This is what it may look like. You could have 22% increase in the viewership screening. This is one of the online publishing thing where they had the videos and how many people were coming in and watching those videos, what kind of content they were offering them, and how the viewership has increased just by analytics. And when we worked with one of our clients, I'm not talking about all the Amazon, Uber, and Google examples because everybody knows about those. These are big brands. We all can read up all the case studies on the web, but these are very small things but have extremely high impact. So how they could really get their viewership up. And this is an effort that we did initially in 4 weeks' time. We had the recommendation engine ready in 4 weeks' time. So there was another question that I had, in the coffee area there. Your engagements might be very long. The customer analytics actually takes very long time to implement and get results. Not really. As long as you align the outcomes there, you have the outcomes in mind. This is where I want to have an impact on my business, whether it's the acquisition of the customers, whether it's the retention, whether it's loyalty, wherever it is, as long as you are aligning the outcomes very nicely, you'll get results, 100%. Now, this is a funny one. Data and technology. We keep talking about that all the time, right? This has been a topic of discussion for ages now. 10 years ago, nobody talked about data as much, right? But now we are collecting it, and we have got technology that's moving so very fast that could leverage all of that data and information. And this is a really great, brilliant combination. You have that combination, and just like poker, even if you have a winning hand, you have brilliant cards, you really need to know how to encash it. So you have to play it well as well to your strengths and know what exactly business outcomes could mean to you. Yeah. So data and technology, and it's going to get bigger, it's going to get faster. And that's the reason one of the questions that I ask in these type of forums where so many great minds are there, is the technology holding you back? And it's a weird question in a way. Is it holding me back? We are evolving so fast now. Why are you saying it's holding me back? The question is, am I able to keep up the pace at which the technology is growing and what it offers? It's changing every month. You look at any of the big data things, artificial intelligence, predictive models. If you look at the logos and the innovation that's happening, it changes every minute. Every half a day, the same slide would look different. It's so fast. And that's the reason I'm saying, is it holding you back? You need to make it contextual for your business. That's it. The other thing is, how much time are you spending in keeping the lights on? And this is again something that we have seen with so many of our clients. You have a successful business model, great, wonderful, but then you get drowned into running that operation. And forget about, in the first place, how you had that fantastic idea, what you did with that fantastic idea to make a successful business. And what we are doing now is just getting drowned in those operational things. So think about it and go and have a judgment on that metrics. How much time are we spending on keeping the lights on? And it's a very important metrics. And what that brings is another question now, do you have a sandbox environment? What are you doing about innovation? And I again quote Madan over here. I'm sure there are going to be so many other examples over the next few hours today and tomorrow. He said, we failed so many times. We learn through failing a lot of times. Unless you experiment, you'll not learn. And failing is part of that. Certain people might fail a lot. I mean, there's so many of those learnings that you might have now. You don't have to fail all the time. So that's another aspect that you should look at. And what it specifically means is, have you got an innovation team, whatever it looks like, whatever you call it, doesn't matter. But do you have an innovation team? Do you have a sandbox environment? Can they do something about it? Are you investing in that new tech? Are you looking at all of that customer data? So a sandbox environment needs to have those critical analytical tools, access to customer data, and some support from stakeholders to really go and invent certain things or explore certain things. Is it always going to give you the results that you are expecting? Probably not. Could it give you something that you could take the business to the next level? Absolutely, 100%. And this is another thing now, with that sandbox environment, analytical tools, you have got access to customer data and all that. And the world around you is also moving very quickly. Everybody has that access. A few years ago, that wasn't the case, but now everybody has that access to that data and information and that technology. How do you get that competitive edge over others? And this is where you need to see the artificial intelligence, the predictive models. How are you investing in some of those models over here? There's so much to talk about that. Some of these models that you could put in place. What are those specific models that are relevant for your business? And trust me, there are no more than 10 to 15 models that you would need to deploy anyways. If you're talking about customer analytics, sometimes there's a lot of hype and noise that has been created about this data science and predictive analytics, and these are all great people who can come in and help you. Actually speaking, there are only few things that you really need to know. You just need to have those objectives in mind, and the tool and access to that skills and information is available. This is where the world is going to be. This is where we all are going to be. Whether you like it or not, whether you like talking to a robot or not, we are already. I watched, you might have seen that, I watched Google CEO Sundar Pichai giving one keynote talk yesterday. And on the screen, actually, he made a phone call to book a restaurant and to book a haircut appointment. And that wasn't just a chatbot, it was an assistant who was making a real call. And it sounded completely real. This is where we are moving. Sometimes we were wondering, just a couple of years ago, we were wondering, am I talking to a bot behind the screen if I'm, on somebody's website? And now you'll be wondering, who am I talking to over the phone? So whether we like it or not, it's there. But the key thing is to remember over there is these assistants are going to be there. Can we trust those assistants? They will start learning about your behavior. They will start learning about the consumer data. They will start learning about all the brands. And they will start learning about your behavior as well. And what will happen in the end is that a great match and a relationship built on trust. Imagine a couple of assistants that know a lot about you, but they are completely trustworthy. They're not moved by the motivations of particular brands who are selling some products to you. So if they sit on your side, on the consumer side, you can trust them, right? We are going to trust the driverless cars in a few years' time. So you will be trusting those assistants. The key thing over here for businesses is how can you leverage all the data that you have, information about your consumers, and make the assistant learn that. So that's going to be a process. You'll have to take the assistant, it's a machine. You'll have to take the assistant through a learning process and a learning curve. So that's going to be one of the key things here. But this world is not too far away, by the way. This is there already. Yeah, yesterday I was thinking, you know, it's maybe a couple of years ago, but Sundar Pichai just changed that concept completely last night. And then the key thing is, you know, you don't have to, in the traditional way, crawl, walk, run, and then fly. Because that's how we have been taught. You have to first put the foundation. You have to crawl first. You have to walk, and then you can run and fly. The technology and available of information has made it possible already. You can start learning to fly almost, or maybe just